and gentlemen.
Welcome to the show. It's Movie Wire time. Oh, the Movie Wire. Bring the firing squad. Bill, Justin. Give the finger or laugh or smile. It's time to find out. No more waiting. So here we go. The Sultan of Cinema. The gumshoe of review. Here is Justin Henson. Let's start the show. Let's go.
Welcome to the Movie Wire.
Welcome to this week's edition of the Movie Wire. I'm your host, Justin Henson, and welcome to the show. We've got a big show this week with 3 new movies to review, with 2 playing in theaters and 1 that's available to stream right now. This week on the show, this is not an expedition, it's an execution, and the movie based on the video game comes Iron Lung. Meet Linda. She's from Strategy and Planning, and she's the boss now in Sam Raimi's Send Help. And finally, leading up to the Oscars and my season finale of Best Films of the Year, I will be adding 1 movie a week that I may have missed in 2025. This week, Dream Big in the Best Picture nominee, Marty Supreme, that is now available to rent or buy on your respected streaming platforms. We've got a lot to cover this week, so let's jump right in. Ready for my verdict? Let's get into it.
Out of the windows to watch. A roar and a burst of flame. The Movie Wire Podcast.
There it is.
We just need people like me.
The Wire.
And here we go.
An employee and her insufferable boss become stranded on a deserted island, the only survivors of a plane crash. Here they must overcome past grievances and work together to survive or fight for dominance. In Sam Raimi's Send Help.
I'm going to be frank with you. You are smart. I know that you are great with numbers, but I just don't think you got it. As an executive, I see no value in you. Does that make sense?
I'm sorry, what?
You know we have the Bangkok merger coming up. Prove me wrong. Oh, Linda, before you go, I forgot to mention I've received a few complaints about you.
Complaints?
Noxious odors.
Oh, God.
Take your seats, you're a little bitch.
Look who's joined the land of the living.
How long?
You been out? Day and a half?
Have you tried making a distress signal?
Or a bigger fire.
I was busy trying to keep us alive.
But getting us out of here, that should be your focus, not being Susie Homemaker over here.
What did you just say to me?
Let's not forget, I'm your boss. You work for me.
We're not in the office anymore, Bradley. No help is coming. You just have to accept that this is how things are now. You're hunt. I think I like it. You are stuck with an asshole boss. Just like I was. Although I'm betting I'm a much nicer boss than you ever would have been. Except for maybe this part. I don't think we should ever leave.
Now, there's no doubt that Sam Raimi's Send Help is stylish, beautiful to look at, and packed with some strong performances. Walking out of the theater, I was thoroughly entertained and mostly satisfied. But there was also a lingering sense of disappointment that followed me. That feeling stems from an overused recycled twist you can see coming a mile away, and from the lack of sustained character tension that never fully quenches my thirst for a sharper thriller. By the time I was left alone with my thoughts and the twist finally arrives, it almost feels too late to matter. I had already been entertained and had a good time. His use of shots, colors, and at times eye-popping gore is exactly what an audience needs or wants, just to be thoroughly entertained. He knows how to control the viewer's focus and guide our eyes exactly where he wants them. Now, there's a temptation to let the beauty and mystery of the island distract us from the story's flaws, and Raimi clearly embraces that. He doubles down on the uncertainty of the intent between employee and boss. Linda and Bradley, played by Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien, who both do a fantastic job bouncing off each other when it comes to more cheeky humor than tension. The characters are written well enough that, like a real workforce, their relationship feels professional during the quieter moments. Linda works in strategy and planning for a Fortune 500 company and has been grinding for a promotion. She's defined as a workhorse, but just as her promotion to vice president is at her fingertips, Bradley, the owner's son, takes over. Introduced as an over-the-top, arrogant boss, Bradley has very different plans for who deserves power. And unfortunately, Linda is not part of that plan. Instead of supporting Linda, he develops a bad taste for her and wants her gone, but not before she helps close one final business deal. Naturally, on the way to that deal, everything goes wrong. Their plane goes down, leaving only Linda and an injured Bradley alive on a deserted island. This is where suddenly the roles are reversed and Linda is forced into charge while caring for the man who once controlled her fate. This reversal of power is one of the film's strongest ideas, using survival as a way to expose workplace politics, ego, manipulation in an environment where corporate rules no longer apply. We can see Linda's character crescendo into almost a leadership CEO role of how a boss almost should be talking to an employee without the violence. Writers Damian Shannon and Mark Swift keep both characters' poker faces firmly in place. Once they reach the island, again, we get the reversal, not just in action, but in personality. Linda's leadership comes forward with a calm professional tone, while Bradley becomes a powerless employee with no real authority. Raimi, again, does what he does best. He smartly frames these shifts visually, placing Linda in dominant situations, while Bradley is boxed into the frame, wounded and reactive rather than commanding. Every line Linda delivers, again, it feels like a CEO guiding her associates, but the miss for me is a lack of razor-sharp dialogue tension between the two. The setup offers countless opportunities for psychological warfare. I wanted something closer to like a Stephen King Misery-style build, with almost a Kathy Bates and James Caan level verbal sparring. Instead, we mostly get situational tension rather than character-driven escalation or tension. But it's still entertaining, constantly making you wonder what either Linda or Bradley might do next. But you can feel how much richer it could have been if the script trusted its characters to truly go for the throat. And this is going to be one of Justin's butt reviews. But what's lost in words is often made up through performance. Rachel McAdams delivers a great performance, controlled menace beneath professionalism, letting tiny facial shifts signal danger or manipulation. And Dylan O'Brien plays the asshole boss well, and he plays desperation well, mixing arrogance with fear as his power drains away. Their physical acting, the glances, pauses, defensive body language, often sells the suspense more than the dialogue itself, turning the chaos into something human. Now, as I spoke to earlier, this is more of a situational thriller versus a dialogue-driven thriller. The situations themselves are fun enough to keep you hooked, even when things get absolutely ridiculous. Like a boar on the island that looks like a genetically altered boar that feels ripped from the island in Dr. Monroe. The film leans heavy into Raimi's cheeky gore or thrills or visuals. He directs like a class clown who just ate 4 pounds of Jolly Ranchers, demanding attention and daring you not to look away. There's an old-fashioned charm to how Raimi stages danger, reminding you of a time when horror thrillers weren't afraid to be weird, playful, and a little messy. But I'll get into that in just a second. Raimi understands where the writing stumbles, he compensates with entertainment. He leans into his Evil Dead roots, staging fear in a way that makes viewers laugh at themselves for squirming while already bracing for the next situational disaster. Raimi's mixed drink, blended nicely of blood, humor, and tension, are done with confidence of a filmmaker who knows how to make discomfort fun and addicting when it comes to visual entertainment. By the time the film reaches the climax, it's less edge-of-your-seat suspense and more about enjoying the Raimi ride. The tension never quite cuts as deep as it could, but the payoff still delivers stylish chaos and memorable moments, rather than just the simple survival cliches of run, fight, then end. And here comes another but. But with that said, my sick and twisted mind, I wish that if we were not going to get the deep dialogue, then I wish we got a lot more crazy in the physical gore and physical scenes. Throughout the movie's visual and setting, we can tell this could have been a Sam Raimi sandbox. From going to the woods in Evil Dead to an island. Going into Send Help, I almost wondered what would Sam Raimi do with this little playground, in which he hints but never really goes all in. It's almost like missing a punchline of a joke. But nevertheless, this is a movie I can still picture me watching numerous times just for pure entertainment. Send Help feels like a movie that knows exactly how to entertain, even when it doesn't fully know how to challenge. Sam Raimi turns a familiar survival thriller setup into a visually playful, occasionally nasty, and consistently watchable fun ride. While the story never quite reaches the psychological depths it hints at, or that I wanted, the strategic filmmaking and performances keep it afloat. Rachel McAdams steals the show, as always, and it's the kind of film you may not overanalyze afterward, but you'll remember the ride. Even though during the ride, you're unsure if it should have gone deeper or not. The overall tone, the setting, the chaos, the uneasy laughs, and the twisted fun Raimi brings to even its weakest moments. Send Help might not reinvent the genre, but it proves Raimi still knows how to grab an audience, shake them a little, and send them out smiling through the discomfort and absolute fun factor. And the last thing I'm gonna add, the score by Danny Elfman fucking rocks. I'm giving Send Help 3 stars.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby.
Now, before we get into the rest of the show, make sure to check out my reviews for movies that just became available to rent, buy, or stream now.
Now available on video cassette.
Discover what's behind closed doors. And just like my dreams, is Sydney Sweeney in an actual good movie in The Housemaid that received 3 stars. Volunteers needed in another zombie apocalypse movie that actually attempts a message and is marginally successful in We Bury the Dead. That got a marginal recommendation at 3 stars. Have you been exposed in a movie that not only was a big snub for the Oscars, but this year don't be surprised if you see it on my best list in a movie that tackles adolescent social commentary, and The Plague that received 3.5 stars. It's not the size of the snake that matters, it's how long it plans to play with you, in which it spends the entire time playing with you thinking it's a good movie in Anaconda that received 1 star. They're back with a twist, and the biggest twist is that it surpasses the original film in Zootopia 2 that received 3.5 stars. A story about the people you love and how to survive them in a movie that was so bland and misguided I forgot I even reviewed it in Ella McKay that received 1.5 stars. This Christmas, you better be good or Santa's gonna slay in Silent Night, Deadly Night that appeases a gore lover with adding some nice character touches that received 3 stars. Something's wrong with Ben, he's dangerously close to human in Primate that is primitive in logic, but who cares, it's a lot of fun that received 3 stars. 5 years ago, the world ended, and that was just the beginning, and this sequel feels like the beginning that nobody cares about. It's rare for the end of the world to just feel boring in Greenland 2 that received 2 stars. Brendan Fraser plays a washed-up actor who is hired to play a father to a little girl. And one of the best movies of the year is Rental Family, that is true cinematic soul food receiving 4 stars. Are you ready for another SpongeBob movie? You should be for the SpongeBob movie Search for SquarePants. That surprised me with the amount of heart a SpongeBob movie can have to receive 3 stars. Inspired by a legend, bound by a dream. Our filmmakers may have had a dream, but it definitely didn't inspire in Song Sung Blue that received 2 stars. First Hunt, Last Chance, and Predator Badlands, which was a fun addition to the lore without showing us all the cards. White Yet receiving 3 stars. But for the love of God, no more PG-13 Predator movies. An epic World War II thriller based on true events in Nuremberg, with Russell Crowe and Rami Malek stealing the show to receive 3 stars. Anyone can survive 5 nights. This time there will be no second chances, and hopefully this doesn't get a third chance in 5 Nights at Freddy's 2 that received 1.5 stars. You You can only choose one in eternity. That is a true journey of self-reflection and takes the viewer on the journey with it, receiving 3.5 stars. Unlock the illusion that we really needed a sequel to this with a title that properly represents what the movie is, and now you see me, now you don't, because when you see it, you won't see it again. Receiving 2 stars. Survive 30 days while the world hunts you down in the remake to the 1987 film The Running Man that really didn't make me run away, receiving 3 stars. And I still fucking hate Glenn Powell. And finally, when they took his family, he took revenge, and Sisu Road to Revenge. That is just as good as the first, if not a little better, receiving 3.5 stars. You can check out those reviews on my previous episodes, and while you do, don't forget to hit follow or subscribe, and please don't forget to leave me a review on Apple Podcast or Spotify. Now, before I get into the last set of reviews, there is a podcast that's become one of my weekly listening routines to give me a mental break from the stresses of work. And that is with J&K over the F My Worklife Podcast. Make sure to follow and subscribe. The link to that show will be in the description of this episode. But let's hear from J&K over the F My Worklife Podcast now.
Have you ever had a bad day at work?
Well, the Fuck My Work-Life podcast is perfect for you.
Host J and K share listeners' entertaining stories from the workplace, which may have you thinking you don't have it so bad after all.
Find Fuck My Work-Life on your favorite podcast platform.
In a post-apocalyptic future, after the Quiet Rapture event, a convict explores a blood ocean on a desolate moon using a submarine called the Iron Lung to search for missing stars or planets. Based on the video game comes Iron Lung.
I see that question in your eyes. For what purpose do we remain alone in the dark?
Beginning the descent. Cruising depth in roughly 2 minutes. Stand by.
I ask myself that very same question.
I'm seeing some voltage irregularities on the instrument, so keep an eye out for sparks or flames or anything like that.
Why would there be flames?
You did test this thing, right?
This is the test. Closing porthole shielding.
Where's the reason for this quiet rapture? Too few to rebuild. Too many to feed.
You're the first one down. All we have are surface scans, that's why you're there. Well, one of the reasons.
Can we just agree this is important? Food, air, we need this, not just the COI, all of us. We need this.
There aren't enough of us left to be throwing lives away, but there is too much at stake not to take calculated risks. Eden doesn't understand that. You don't understand that.
I just want to live. Is that so wrong? Why doesn't anybody else want that?
Now, I'm going to say this up front. This is a movie for fans of the game, and seeing that the game was on sale for $3.99 on Steam the day I was going to view it, I decided I had a couple hours to kill, so I thought I'd give it a try. A couple hours went by as I was playing, and I did decide to skip the movie and attend the show the next day. I was engulfed into this game. After playing for about 3 hours, and 3 hours of frustration, by the way, I shut the game off and thought I would never play it again. It's not that it's a bad game. I like that it takes some thought, patience, and critical thinking. Kind of like the actual movie, just without the thought. The thought of where to take the game premise and give us something more is something that was missing out of the film adaptation. The premise of the game is simple, but the movie takes this premise and on the surface is the same, but as the movie goes on, tries to complicate itself into trying to be something of substance or thought-provoking that I will get into in just a second. Our writer-director, Mark Fishbach, plays Simon, who they call Convict in the movie, and those that are convicted of a crime are sentenced to being welded into a steel submarine to explore an ocean of blood to find lost stars, planets, creatures. The movie either skims over the real idea of what's happening or makes it overly complicated. To me, given the runtime, which again I will get into in just a second, it overcomplicates itself. Now, the catch with this submarine, just like in the game, Simon can't see out of the windows due to the fact it's just pure blood. So he has to rely on pressing a button to take an x-ray picture of the outside to see where he is at or not run into anything, or to see if there's any creatures lurking outside. Guiding him and providing plot points is a voice box in the sub that communicates with Ava, played by Carolyn Kaplan, who provides us with the necessary story or important plot points and helps us build tension when needed. Now, I'm sure fans of the game will love this movie. This was a movie made for them. And to be fair, the movie at times looks fantastic, especially with the aesthetics of the sub. It felt like a claustrophobic Event Horizon. But here is the main issue. It has an idea, and an idea that the movie could have been taken further, especially with the thrills. But what our writer-director Mark Fishbach does in his first big theatrical debut is stretch this premise to its limits of complete boredom. This is a movie that feels like a fan film that needed to be about 45 to an hour shorter if there wasn't going to be much added other than the same idea and the premise we got from watching anybody else playing the video game. I thought to myself during the movie, how far can they stretch this? As my eyes got heavy during the second act. And by the time we get to the final act, it attempts to add in some thought-provoking visuals and ideas. But it doesn't feel earned, because most of the movie we get the same tropes. Hints at discovery, hints at survival, hints at danger, but nothing really leads to an earned climax, in which the climax explains nothing. It does give us a surface level meaning, and we can kind of place the dots together of what the ending means, but not the holistic movie. And it doesn't give us enough to dissect the holistic movie, because it spends most of the movie trying to generate thrills and mystery, but without the curiosity that the climax tries to instill. Now, I referenced Event Horizon, and to an extent it had the same problem. And the difference here is Event Horizon was evenly paced. It knew the time frame it needed to do. It knew how to portray a message in the given runtime. We knew what Event Horizon was throwing down. But here, this is not enough. Mark Fishbach does a great job with the direction during the first two acts when it comes to ensuring the setting is appealing and the editing creates just enough entertainment. When we get to the climax, this is where he shows his amateur roots of just shaking the camera around, adding a lot of fake-looking blood, and even for an unearned climax, feels like they ran out of money and insults the audience. There is a scene where Simon is on a clock-ticking tight time frame to accomplish a mission, and he seems to be wasting time inspecting wounds of a removed bandage. We get moments like this throughout the movie of just time wasting, and this is where the wasted 2 hours goes to. Is just unbelievability that feels like Fishbach is just adding in filler to make this movie over 2 hours. This fucking movie does not need to be 2 fucking hours long. Now, when it comes for fans watching the movie, this is going to be for them. I get it. I got frustrated at the game when I was playing it. I was getting frustrated at why I can't even get to 1 point on the map. Part of the problem here is that I'm sure many have been frustrated in this game. But our Simon character never really gets frustrated. There isn't really an arc until the last 30 or so minutes. Everything seems like another day with our convicted felon trapped inside a welded sub. If us playing this game gets frustrated, at least what they can do is make our character frustrated because it's life or death for him. I can just hit shutdown on my PC and call it a day. But Simon is in an ocean of blood, welded in a fucking sub that is going to die. Simon takes on the challenge in a 2-hour movie. If this character is level-headed and he's in a welded together sub in an ocean of blood, why is he a convicted felon for killing people? Simon takes on the challenge in a 2-hour movie that should have been a deeper discovery and a clearer message to what went down and why Simon is in the sub of hell. Give us something with the character. Give us a clearer message on what he did. Don't beat around the bush. Tell us who this character is and what he's done to deserve this. There are so many unclear, it just kind of teeters around what is going on, but it's never clear. We merely just get hints, and at times audio from our communication box from Ava that we half the time don't understand what's being said. And maybe that was just the audio from my theater. But Iron Lung's focus on chaos of visuals without allowing all the elements to come together to give us something thought-provoking. Iron Lung is long-winded in its misguided intent, but also shows potential for Mark Fishbach on his direction at times, but also will be a stamp on their portfolio for art direction by Travis Eisenberg and production designer Aman Karbani in their flawless design. The visuals keep this movie on its feet while Fishbach stumbles through his writing on what to do for the 2 hour and 7 minute runtime. This is a movie that can be enjoyed on mute, but at the same time, it's hard to deny that this movie teeters between potential and entertainment and the frustrations of the game, but this is one of those movies that the visuals kind of save it. So I'm giving Iron Lung 2 stars. Marty Mauser, a young man with a dream no one respects, goes to hell and back in pursuit of greatness. Timothée Chalamet stars in the multiple Oscar nomination film Marty Supreme.
I have a purpose.
Okay. Let me ask you something. Do you make money at this little table tennis thing?
Not yet.
Do you have a job?
No. Backhand! Backhand! Forehand!
How do you live?
Well, I live with the confidence if I believe in myself, the money will follow.
And what do you plan to do if this whole dream of yours doesn't work out?
That doesn't even enter my consciousness.
Maybe it should.
Everything in my life's falling apart, but I'm gonna figure it out.
Do you need help? I could help you.
You wanna go hustling again?
Put your money where your mouth is.
176, 177, 178. The mouse is back, baby. Yeah! Welcome to your life.
Marty, I can't support your mother for the
You're not gonna have to. Because I'm gonna step up.
Step up.
I'm gonna step up in a way you can't even imagine.
Marty, I'm gonna make you an offer.
I gotta do it completely on my own. It's every man for himself where I come from. That's just how I grew up.
Hey, what are you doing?
I don't think you understand the stakes here. Find that funny?
I get nervous laughter sometimes.
My eyes broke, or is that mouse, baby?
Thank you so much. You're my pop. We believe in you.
Hey, I'll rip that unibrow right off his forehead.
You want to get physical? Like an 8?
Come on, he's right here.
Have you ever thought about what you're doing to me?
Give us our money. When they do, I'll be right behind you. Everybody wants to.
And it's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box.
You think it's that simple?
Yeah, I do.
Everybody wants to. This is my part. This is my part.
Josh Safdie's now Oscar-nominated film Marty Supreme plays like a mix of Catch Me If You Can with Uncut Gems, but somehow finds itself just barely under par of both movies when it comes to tensity. Tensity of the chase and tensity of the dialogue, but that's not to say it's not without its absolute strong points. Marty Supreme is still a supreme force to be reckoned with, especially when it comes to awards time. Timothée Chalamet plays Marty, who starts off as a shoe salesman that we quickly discover that his words are that of a silver-tongued devil. Words to convince anyone to buy what he's offering. Almost everyone. In a sales environment, he is in control, but in the real world, his 23-year-old confidence, experienced adults see through it. But Marty's pride outweighs reality. As we go through the movie, we have multiple attempts and multiple interactions to attempt to bring Marty to ground zero, but the movie surrounds its driver through Marty's pride and determination. But determination is defined on Marty being an unlikable dickhead. And even being an asshole, the character is written so fast-paced it's hard to settle our feelings if we hate this character or not. But the one thing I didn't hesitate on is Timothée Chalamet's performance. That is worthy of an Oscar in the range he has once again displayed here. I'm beginning to see a pattern with our director Safdie. Not to discourage the actual talent on screen that delivers the performance, but Safdie knows how to bring out his vision and push his talent to translate their performance and what the audience has to feel in the vision. This is a film that knows what it's doing and what it wants an audience to feel. We get the same from Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems, where the characters are the drivers in partnership with smart direction, and we get that here. Now, Marty is determined to be a table tennis champion, even attempting to convince bigwigs that he's already a champion. And he goes all in with his pride on the table, to the point just like overconfident gamblers, or in this case, an early 20s kid with no one to bring him down to his level, loses it all and has to find a way to fight his way back to the top. This includes manipulation, fraud, crime, etc., etc. This all catches up to Marty, and one of the minor faults of the movie that slows it down is we could have found better ways or situations to put Marty in that made the movie flow a little bit smoother. But Safdie is smart enough to pivot when he sees the flaws of a story and keeps the characters consistent and even doubles down in stake, not in the story, but in the characters. For example, we have again Marty down on his luck, on the run, and he's staying in a hotel. He's laying in a bathtub that falls through the floor to the hotel room below him, hurting the arm of a dog owner, Ezra Miskin, played by Abel Ferreira, whose dog ends up under the bathtub that's fallen as well. Not knowing who Ezra is, Marty agrees to take some money from Ezra and promises to take his dog Moses to the vet to ensure he is okay. This leads to what feels like a forced plot point that almost conquers the back half of the movie that feels misguided, but nevertheless, a slight sidestep for the movie. That the movie again doubles down on its dialogue during these moments and doubles down on chemistry between Marty and who he meets on the road, including an ongoing story and relationship between him and veteran actress Kay Stone, played by Gwyneth Paltrow, who Kay states that he wasn't even born when she acted in movies, but that doesn't stop Marty from pursuing her for mere connection or attraction or manipulation that keeps the viewer curious. And this is where the curiosity, we have these moments that we could have felt the movie could have been focused on this, the pure manipulation, but the movie tends to go sideways and bounce back and forth from characters. But you know what? This is the chaos that we see. This isn't going to be the chaotic moments we get from the dialogue that we got from Uncut Gems. This is more of a situational tensity that it never really gets there, but we can feel that it wants to. We soon find out the intent of the third act of the film, that all these moments do lead up to something, even with Paltrow and Chalamet. But we soon find out the intent during the third act of the film, where everything really does come together and we kind of understand what the movie is going for, even though I wasn't satisfied with the pacing and the multiple subplots that's going on in the film. But, you know, during this time, we go back to the performances, even with Paltrow and Chalamet. Those are great performances. Chalamet does fantastic. Paltrow does the Paltrow thing. Whatever. It's linear. But the true star here next to Chalamet that took me by surprise was Shark Tank's Kevin O'Leary. That is an owner of a pen company married to Kay, who plays Milton Rockwell, who's the owner of a pen company and is married to Kay, who Milton is oblivious to Kay and Marty's romance or business dealings or hookup, whatever you want to call it. O'Leary's performance, that, again, this is one of those that is so under the radar, so random in a film, it's not recognized. This is one the Academy got wrong. And, you know, we have had moments in Oscar history where actors get nominated that's just so out there that we don't see it expected, including Haley Joel Osment from 1999's The Sixth Sense. The Academy has recognized some spontaneous characters when it comes to performances, but this is one that I think should have been recognized and it hasn't been talked about enough. This was an absolute impressive performance and deserves to stand next to Chalamet, who, with these two performances, these two with their chemistry is a powerhouse. O'Leary does what he does best here, be the business owner that feels he has all the power. Again, shows what Josh Safdie's biggest strength is character direction and bringing the best out of his cast while building a story of intensity. O'Leary isn't a professional actor, but we can see the talent from our director and our O'Leary performance. Safdie in his films shows through characters the dangers of pride, overconfidence, and the dangers of fame when all these elements intertwine. And when we have a young 23-year-old in the mix, I was hoping for more intensity and storytelling versus what we have seen from Safdie in the past. But between Chalamet, O'Leary, and the supporting cast gives us enough to still want to root for a good ending, even for a little asshole. And this is a symbol of good collaboration from our director Safdie and our writer Bronstein. They create an ensemble cast that is just enough unlikable than our main character, mainly because of their power and control they demonstrate on screen. Our little asshole underdog Marty is just that, an underdog that we want to see overpower the rich and the ones in control. And when it comes to liking a character, even with his overconfidence and his snarky remarks, even if he's unlikable, it will always be rooting for the underdog. And Bronstein and Safdie are smart to keep our powerful characters just a hairline above the dislike mark of Marty by focusing on the rich and poor theme, with the topic at hand, a poor character determined to want to be better. And it's done with such strategy and grace, even though the story doesn't flow as it should. But we can see what our filmmaker's intent is to give examples of the difference between privilege and being poor enough to be determined to be privileged. Marty Supreme is another solid Josh Safdie movie that sucks the viewer in through characters and incredibly smart direction, which again with his track record will put viewers' anxiety to the test, to the point we have to think to ourselves if we actually want to see this movie again. But I won't say that this is Safdie's best work. I don't want to discourage this movie. It's a brilliant movie. And after walking out of the movie, I had to think to myself, and I don't want to discredit this movie because Marty Supreme is a brilliant movie. It's a well-executed movie, but I couldn't help but ponder if that Marty Supreme could get this many Oscar nominations and Uncut Gems was snubbed, then I don't understand the intent of the Academy, because Uncut Gems was a better executed movie on controlling the viewer, controlling the viewer's feelings, and it was a better edited and directed movie. But again, that's just my commentary. I don't want to take away from the force that Marty Supreme is to be reckoned with when it comes to awards time. It's still one of the best movies of the year. It's still a well-executed movie. It's not my favorite Safdie movie, but again, that's not saying much because I'm a huge fan of Safdie, and this one is a brilliant film. I'm giving Marty Supreme 3.5 stars. And that's a cut on this week's edition of The Movie Wire. I want to thank you for listening and thank you for your support. You can also show support by following me on Instagram, Blue Sky, X, Thread, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and Letterboxd at Movie Wire Show. And please don't forget to leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And if you haven't yet checked out the Cult-Worthy Cinema Podcast and the Movie Wire's crossover show, Back to the Balcony, make sure you do. Again, the link of that show will be in the description of this episode. Until next week, do me a favor. Make sure you stay for after the credits to show the respect to those that put their blood, sweat, and tears into making a feature film and support your local movie theaters.
Thank you for bringing me to the movies.
Let the credits roll. We say farewell. Join us next time. We'll have more tales to tell.